For this week, we are looking at how we can use some of the sacred texts that have been written over the ages to help us enhance the quality of our lives. Reading sacred text has been a timeless practice with the potential to deeply enrich and enhance our lives. From books like the Quran to the Bible, from the Bhagavad Gita to the Tao Te Ching, these sacred texts offer profound insight that can positively impact our spiritual, mental, and emotional well-being. First off, these texts provide us with a moral compass, allowing us to move more towards virtuous behavior and encouraging ideas like empathy, forgiveness, kindness, compassion. By immersing ourselves in the teachings of these texts, we can cultivate a heightened sense of ethical awareness and a deeper understanding of our responsibilities to ourselves and to others. We really begin to look at how we interact and interrelate with other people through these practices that are most often spoke about in these sacred texts. Secondly, sacred texts can provide a source of solace and comfort when we are troubled. They provide us with a sense of hope and resilience during our challenging times. And it's through their timeless wisdom and encouragement that these texts can help give us help us move through moments of despair, offering a profound sense of hope, of inner strength, of courage to move beyond the circumstances that we find ourselves in. The spiritual solace derived from these words in these sacred texts can instill a sense of peace and serenity. They often enable us to find equilibrium or balance within our inevitable turbulence and challenging situations we often find ourselves in. Furthermore, reading sacred texts promotes intellectual stimulation and introspection. It encourages individuals to ponder the complexities of existence and the mysteries of the universe. They speak of things that are beyond our physical understanding in a way that cultivates the sacred within us. They provoke critical thinking and contemplation. They actually prompt us to question our beliefs and our understanding of how the world works. All of this intellectual engagement fosters a deeper connection to our own inner selves and encourages a lifelong pursuit of knowledge and wisdom and understanding that is beyond the boundaries of our limited human experience here. These sacred texts help us seek out the mystical when we feel like we're caught in the mundane. Sacred texts often contain practical guidance for leading a balanced and meaningful life. They provide us lessons on humility and gratitude. They teach us how to become self-disciplined and more aware of our interactions with other people and what's going on within ourselves. These texts often provide practical advice that can be applied in a variety of daily living situations. And by integrating these teachings from sacred texts into our lives, we can begin to strive for a more harmonious and a more purpose-driven existence. And all of that, of course, just fosters more personal growth and development, which really, we are here to evolve in this world. We are here to move beyond the way that we were when we arrived in this plane of existence, to allow our souls to evolve into that higher level of thinking. And finally, sacred texts have the power to unite communities and foster a sense of collective identity and belonging, especially when we're studying with people who have a belief system that is similar to ours. By sharing and discussing the insights and the values derived from these texts, we can build strong, supportive communities that are grounded in these shared principles and beliefs. This communal engagement fosters that sense of solidarity, and it encourages individuals to work together for the betterment of society and the promotion of universal harmony and peace. So these sacred texts, we know that these sacred texts were probably divinely guided, but every single one of them is written by the hand of a human being. And so when we put too much emphasis into the literal translation of the words, that can be problematic in our life, as well as being thought-provoking. And so it's always a matter of using critical thinking skills and begin to ask ourselves, what does this mean in my life today? What does this mean in the context of my world right now? If we try to apply what we've read in a text that is sacred to us to what is happening in another part of the world, then that's where we get into the problems, where we try to impose our belief system onto someone else by thinking that the sacred text that we're reading is the only one out there, the only one that has the valid ideas in it. You know, I love reading the different sacred texts and looking for what our founder Ernest Holmes called those golden threads of truth, the things that are woven between each of the major religions, each of the different texts that we read, from things that were written 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, into things that were written 3 days ago, and finding those golden threads of truth and bringing that all together and asking myself, what does that mean in my life today? So one of my favorite classes to teach is a class called Meditation is More Than You Think. And in there I share about 40 different types of meditation. One of the meditations that I share in this class is called Passages Meditation. And it's a method that was developed by a Hindu man named Eknath Easwaran. And he's written many books out there. His translation of the Bhagavad Gita is one of the best known translations of it that has come about. And so he has developed this method of meditation here. And this is what he says about it. He says, the method of meditation presented here can be followed equally well in any religion or in none. I think that the real secret of its appeal is that, and it belongs to no movement. It asks for no change of beliefs. It simply allows you to take the beliefs you respond to and gradually, gracefully make them part of your character and your life. And so the secret to this meditation is very simple. It's quite a simple idea, but it's a profound one. You become what you meditate on. When you use an inspirational passage every day in meditation, you are driving those words deep into your consciousness. And eventually they become part of your personality, which means you will find constant expression in what you do, say, and think. These passages become alive inside of you. And so in Passages Meditation, you just choose a spiritual text or a passage. It doesn't matter what faith tradition it is. It matters that it resonates with you. Find one that embodies your highest ideas. Memorize it. And then you go through the words slowly and silently and with as much concentration as possible. You can take the words and you can chunk them into little bits. You can take each word individually. And you just begin to contemplate, what does that word mean? And what does it mean for me? So what we're going to do when we do this is first we're going to train our mind to stay on the words of the passages. And then we gradually begin to build the capacity to place our attention wherever we choose. And so then from there, we begin to reassemble the words back together and gradually become whatever we give our attention to. So one of the passages that I like to use oftentimes, and I'll use this one as an example, is from the Christian Bible. And it's be still and know. Be still and know. In fact, I believe it goes on to say, be still and know that I am God. And I think it's mentioned several times in there in different forms, maybe not exactly those words, but that idea is be still and know. For me, that is the essence of meditation, is to be still and know, to be still enough to allow something to come alive inside of me. And so you can take a passage like this and you can just repeat it over and over to yourself, be still and know. If your mind starts to drift away, you just say again, be still and know. Then you can start to chunk that into little bits, like you might say, be still. And ponder, what does it mean to be still? Am I being still right now? What does stillness inside of me feel like? And just begin to really let that short phrase, those two little words, come alive inside of you. And then you can move on to the second part, and know. And know what? What does it mean to know? What is it I am to know? And then you could go back together, put it back together, be still and know. And ponder that for a while. You could actually take it and break it into each individual word. Be. What does it mean to be? If I am being, how am I feeling? Then take the word still. What does it mean to be still? What does still feel like inside of me? And is that word that brings things together. What am I bringing together in here? I'm bringing together the stillness, and I'm bringing together some sense of something that is beyond what I understand right now. And then you can take the word know. What does it mean to know? What am I knowing? What am I here to know? What do I want to know? And begin to work with it that way, to where you begin to bring that alive inside of you. So Eknarth, boy, that's a tough name. Eknarth Swaran has some instructions for doing this. That was my way of kind of summarizing it. But he says this, he says, choose a time of meditation where you can sit for half an hour. Early morning is best before the activities begin for the day, but whatever works in your schedule. Select a place that is cool, clean, and quiet. I like that. If you start to get hot and things feel stuffy, then your mind gets distracted and it moves towards that, and it's hard to stay focused. Having something that's cluttered. Some people, I happen to work pretty well with clutter around me, but oftentimes people find that clutter is just noise and visual representation of noise. And so it's hard to get to that place where you can meditate with it around there. He says, sit back with your head sit with your head and back erect. Sit back, but don't lay back. I like to sit straight up. I want to, often I sit in a chair like this one right here, or I have a straight back chair that has a footstool with it that I use that oftentimes. And I let my shoulders drop. My arms are supported by my lap or the armrest of the chair, but it allows my body to be erect where the breath is moving fully through me, and my head isn't drooping, so I'm not cutting off my air supply. I don't have a tendency to fall asleep when I'm sitting up erect, but I'm not stiff. I don't have tension, like I'm going to be absolutely at attention there. I'm relaxed, but I'm erect. You need to memorize the passage generally before you begin to do it, because if you find yourself reading the passage, then you're engaging in a different mental activity altogether. And it's hard to get into that state of meditation if you're actually reading something. So, find a passage like the one I just gave as an example, be still and know, is a very simple one. You could go on and choose something else. Another phrase I love from the Christian Bible, actually I think it's from the Old Testament, is, and I paraphrase it, but the place on which I stand is holy ground, for God is there. And so, using something like that, what does that mean? And I take that into that meditation. You could take something like a poem from Rumi. And again, it's not so much that it's exactly what they're saying, but make it real for you. So, I love his poem, out between ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is an empty field. I'll meet you there. And when two souls lie down upon the grass, words like you and I stop making any sense. Something I've memorized, something I pull out, something that means a great deal to me, and because I have taken time and contemplated it and brought it forth. So whatever that is, find something that you can memorize. Eknarth suggests that you start with the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. I find that's a little too long for me. It's a beautiful prayer. I love the prayer, but it's a little too long for me to have memorized it. And so I like these shorter phrases myself better. And he says just to close your eyes and begin to go slowly in your mind through the words. You're not saying them out loud like I've been saying them out loud to you as part of this video, but you're saying it silently in your own mind. And, just allow that positive inspirational passage from one of the world's great spiritual traditions to come alive inside of you. Give give your attention to the meaning of the words, but without getting lost in it, without getting lost in trying to figure out, oh, what's the etymology of the word still, so I start to think back of the roots of it and where did it come from and all of that stuff. Then I'm in a mental activity. I am not taking it into my consciousness. I'm ruminating on it in my mind, and that's a whole different thing. That's certainly not meditation. But just give your attention to them without getting lost in the words. And when distractions do come, and they will, then just begin to bring yourself back to the words. Bring yourself back to whatever it is you're working on for that particular one. So when you reach the end of the passage, you may want to use it again and again and again until you have reached the amount of time that you want to do. If you have a short one like I did, Be Still and Know is a very short passage. For me to meditate on that for 30 minutes or longer, I would have to just keep doing it, and I might feel like I'm in a rut. So, let the meditation be what it needs to be, but if you're wanting it to go really long, you might want to choose a longer passage. And it's really important that you meditate on this for a period of time. I love the work of Joel Goldsmith, and he says that he would take a passage like that, like Be Still and Know, and use it for a year, meditating on that every single day, multiple times a day even, to where it begins to come alive inside of him. And so, like I said, find something that works for you. It can be any sacred text. It can be any poetry is beautiful for it, especially some of the wonderful poetry of the mystics that's out there. Find something that really works for you and allow it to come alive inside of you. It will enhance your life and can often change your life in dramatic ways. As I said, for me, it's been a really powerful practice to do this and to allow these things to come alive. And there's just beautiful work out there. I can find something everywhere I look that is a beautiful message that you can tell, even if it's not in a spiritual text, you can tell that it has come from Spirit. It has been divinely guided and brought to us. Some of the poets that are out there that weren't necessarily religious people that have written things that are just so inspired that we know that it can only be that way. Some of the modern poets, Amanda Gorman. I love David White's poetry. Just different things that are out there that will really take you to that place. So find those passages. Find those things that speak to you. Find a way that you can take it into your soul and allow it to become alive inside of you. It really will enhance your life and change the way that you think about things in the world.